Hello and welcome to this interesting session on setting up a wealth manager like practice. Friends, we all know that with ease of transaction through fintech platforms, many new age investors are going direct. While these new investors will eventually seek your help for financial guidance as their portfolio grow big, one thing that this audience will surely expect from you is similar level of tech support and wealth management services. To help you develop this future ready practice, today we have invited Amit Shah, founder and CEO, Wylth, a wealth tech platform. With over 15 years of experience in financial services industry, Amit brings a wealth of knowledge in both wealth and asset management. So Amit has also played a key role in setting up IIFL wealth business in Mumbai and across the country. Talking about his achievements, Amit has received NRI of the Year award in 2016 for the Asia Pacific region. He is also a recipient of the Udyog Ratan Award, which is conferred annually to Indian citizens for their exceptional contribution to the country's economic development. So, without wasting time, let me welcome Amit. Good evening, Amit, and welcome to the show.
Thanks, Nishant. It's always pleasure to chat with you and the fellow mutual fund distributors.
Great. So Amit, so one question that is on my mind currently is that wealth manager and individual MFDs both have ARN, right? Both are ARN holders. Then how come wealth management practice is different from individual MFDs?
Great question. While both operate under the same regulatory umbrella
Mm,
and possesses ARN, the core difference lies in the approach and the mindset. So, a mutual fund distributor traditionally focuses on product distribution, helping clients to invest in mutual funds based on their suitability and risk profile. In contrast, a wealth manager would offer a more holistic and client centric approach, addressing not just investments, but also tax efficiency, estate planning, retirement, insurance, and most importantly, the intergenerational wealth transfer. So in that sense, you can think of it as a difference between, let's say, a pharmacist who dispenses medicine when you go, with a prescription versus a physician who is crafting a long-term wellness plan for yourself, right? Wealth managers go beyond products. They
mm,
actually manage outcomes. And this is a very important kind of, mindset difference, that you're not just a product provider, but you are someone who is understanding the customer and trying to create a legacy for that customer during his investment cycle.
mm. Got it, got it. But Amit, my life is going good with the current setup, right? I'm growing business, everything is going in my favor. Then why do you think that I, as an MFD, should consider evolving into a wealth management practice?
It's true that the mutual fund distributors are doing really, really well, right? 10 years back, who would have thought that our mutual fund AUMs will soar to the level which it is, and thereby, the revenue stream for mutual fund distributors. And I don't have any doubt in my mind that this will grow to 30-35% CAGR for the next 5 to 10 years' time. But the world around them is changing rapidly.
Hmm.
And I would kind of summarize it in three broader kind of aspects. The
Hmm.
first being, investors' expectations are evolving. The type of investors are changing. Now,
Hmm.
clients now demand a lot of personalization, digital engagement, and a holistic financial advice because the next generation is taking over. So the
Hmm.
average age profile of today's MFD customer, client, is reducing by 1 year every year in that sense, right? The second is the fee compression and product commoditization. Now, fee compression, we have seen that MFDs few years back were making upfront fees, then that moved to trail and it was up to 1.5%. Now it has come to 1%.
Yeah.
My rough guess is that in the next 2 to 3 years' time, it's going to become 75 basis points, if not lower, right? Because India wants to kind of benchmark itself with global mutual fund distributors. So, in that sense, every mutual fund distributor will be pressed to differentiate on value and not the product, because product is a commodity. right?
Mm,
And the third, and the last thing I would like to say is the regulatory trend and the shift in the regulators' mindset and the competitive environment, around a mutual fund distributor today. So previously, the only competition to a mutual fund distributor, if you look at it, was a priority bank or a
mm,
fellow mutual fund distributor, right? Today, if you see, if I had to list down, the competitors, you have fintech companies who are, going in. You have DIY platforms, and you have fintech-led broker, sub-broker models, right?
mm,
So when you are competing with these new kind of, set of competitors, your game needs to be up. Otherwise, from a client perspective, they are actually looking at an experience, and if you are not able to provide that holistic experience, you would get a chance to lose that customer. So
mm,
evolving into wealth management practice isn't about abandoning what works for you, as you rightly said. It's
mm,
actually about future proofing your business. And I
mm,
stress on the fact future proofing your business, because today what is working as business as usual, it's
mm,
not going to be business as usual. We have seen pre-COVID and post-COVID, right?
mm,
Mindset change, everything changes, right? So it ensures a good wealth management practice would ensure a very deep client relationship, which would entail into a higher wallet share and an extremely long-term sustainable relationship, right? So in that sense, it is extremely important for mutual fund distributors to look for their business tomorrow than what it is today, because today it's a fantastic thing, right? Most of the mutual fund distributors I interact with, uh, they are very happy and comfortable in the situation they are in.
This brings me to the next question, which is how can individual MFDs develop a wealth manager mindset up?
It, as I mentioned earlier, it starts with a shift in your perspective, right?
Mm,
So what I mean by that is from a mindset of selling a product today
mm,
to a customer to solving a customer's problem, right? It's easier said than done, because today if I'm a mutual fund distributor going and selling one particular scheme or a fund or an asset class to a customer versus understanding what customers problems are and giving him an end solution, which meets his or her long-term requirements, right? So to adapt to a wealth manager mindset, I would suggest MFDs should focus on following things. First and foremost, one needs to understand the client's life goals, right?
mm,
Not just their investment goals. Because
mm,
the problem with most of us is we are always focused on what is your investment goal. Okay, you want to make 10%, 20%, your wedding coming in, so on and so forth. But in that zest, we forget about planning for the life goals, right? Second is one should start, and this is very difficult, but one should start conversations around protection, legacy, and financial independence, and just not SIP.
mm,
SIP is not the end goal for what we are looking at. SIP is a means to reach that end goal, right?
mm,
So we should first discuss the end goal, right? Okay, what is the legacy and the financial independence I'm looking at, and then SIP becomes one of the tools to achieve that particular end goal. Third thing is one should focus more on advice, empathy. I stress on word empathy because, and I'll come to it a bit later,
mm,
and ongoing review rather than just one-time transaction. The reason why I say empathy is, over my 25 years of career, I have managed right from very small investor to one of the world's largest institutional investor. I have never seen an investor being lost because your returns are lower than someone else's returns.
mm,
Investor gets lost because you don't have empathy towards the investor during difficult time, right?
mm,
We don't want to face the investor, which is when
mm,
he needs us the most, right?
mm,
Fourth thing is, we all should, and that's true irrespective of the business we are in, is we
mm,
all should invest in knowledge, right? Because the more knowledge we gain, the better we will be able to service our end customer. Now, what I mean by knowledge is knowledge on taxation, knowledge on retirement planning, knowledge on estate planning. Now, in India today, we still don't have estate duties, but it's not too far off. Probably our generation is going to see, estate duty coming in. And the last but not the least, the behavioral finance, because the kind of clients we are interacting with, are not that financially savvy, and they look upon us, for their financial acumen. The last thing, which according to me is the most critical one in today's situation, is to learn to embrace technology.
Mm,
Now, I'm not from a technology background, right? And I had a lot of apprehension initially in my own mind, also from a technology perspective. But the more you embrace technology, the more you can enhance the engagement, and
mm,
more you can scale up the personalization, right? Because one-on-one in physical sense takes a lot of time to service a customer versus doing it through a technology platform. And now with the AI, and other LLM models available, which is what we are now trying to implement, and you'll see in the next 3 to 6 months time on Wylth platform, a lot of personalized advice based on the client's behavior and the transactions which resides on our platform, and MFD would be able to do that in a personalized manner, with a customer. So it's just not becoming a financial planner overnight, right? It's
mm,
about evolving step by step into a trusted financial partner of the end customer. That is when
mm.
you achieve your goal, right? And that is when you become irreplaceable, from a customer's perspective.
So, Amit, the first point, the life planning, can you explain it to our audience?
Sure. So, typically when you meet with a customer, and including all of us, right,
Mm,
we always focus on what is in our mind today, right?
mm,
We are not tuned to think about next 5, 10, 15, 20 years, right? So if
correct.
if I if I today say, that's why most of the goal planning are like that, right? To buy a house, to buy a car, for a vacation, for daughter's wedding, for education, and that's it, right? But what I
Mm,
want to do when I turn 60, right?
mm,
Do I want to do philanthropy? Do I
mm,
want to have enough corpus so that whatever things I have not done today, I can do it? What are my life goals? And whether those bigger life goals fit into my current smaller goals, which I am planning at this point in time, right? So it's more of behavioral science than just actual, doing an Excel calculation or a calculator in that sense. And
mm,
that's where you would understand the psyche of an end investor. So today, if I come and tell you that, okay, I am okay with a very high risk, let's look at equity. But once you understand my life goals and you understand, the stage of life I'm in, you may come and tell me, sir, this is not right for you.
mm,
And that's why planning for one single objective would not make a holistic sense compared to planning for your end or overall life goals. And then
mm,
put this in the perspective of your overall goals.
mm. Got it. Great thought. So what are some key essentials for setting up a wealth management business, according to you, Amit?
Uh, I'm not an expert on it, but based on my experience, I would list down a few of them. The first starts with a very simple thing, which is client segmentation. Now, most of us don't do that, right? So,
Mm,
and that's what we have done in our business also, that define and prioritize the client who value and need a wealth approach.
mm,
Because it's like saying that, to a bald person, you can't go and sell a comb, right? It's not of any use to him or her, right? So in that sense, it's very, very important that, we need to define what our clients want, and then prioritize the offering based on their requirement. So never go with a one suit fits all kind of strategy. Second thing is, have a good advisory framework. So
mm,
build a process-driven, engagement model, including risk profiling, goal mapping, and financial planning, right? And this all can be done digitally. If you have to do it physically, it becomes impossible because you won't be able to manage more than 30, 40, 50 customers or families. Third thing is, have a very nice product architecture. So offer, broader sets of products, and mutual fund should be one of them, not the only one, right? Because today, if you see MFI statistics, mutual fund is 16% of the client's wallet share, right? So there is balance 84% which resides outside the system, which we need to bring it back into the system, and that's how we would qualify ourselves as wealth managers, right? Fourth thing is compliance and documentation, extremely important. Currently,
mm,
if you look at it, MFDs have very light regulation, but in my view, in next 1 to 2 years' time, following the Western way of advisory, we are also going to have proper regulation. And when one is dealing with retail, we are anyways in the back foot, because from a regulator's perspective, retail is always right. right? In that
Hmm.
sense. So, a customer would always be right when he says that. So we need to have, a very robust audit trail and disclosures and KYC and AML policies, and the conversation or confirmations recorded on with us to be produced if required, right? And the last thing is the technology infrastructure. So, a very robust and easy to use CRM, a financial planning tool, and transactional enablers, along with client portals, are vital for scaling up a business and creating trust in front of the customer. Because if you're consistently doing something, right, that creates trust. Just doing one-off wow would never create trust in front of the customer. So these,
Hmm.
according to me, are key essentials, for setting up wealth management business.
So, Amit, you mentioned about multiple services apart from investment management. So, what are the services that MFD should explore?
So what I mentioned was product architecture and not, services in that sense. Services would become the delivery mechanism.
Hmm.
So currently, just focusing on mutual fund, which I said, and that everyone is doing it, right? Because when you go and say, sir, I'm doing your asset allocation, it's just for that 16% of that portfolio, right?
Hmm.
If one wants to become a wealth manager, we need to focus on the 100% of the portfolio allocation. And now you can only be able to increase your product architecture if you have intelligence, knowledge, and availability and serviceability of those products on the same platform, which is what we are currently focused on. That probably from January to March of next year, our clear focus is essentially to build, and get these products on the platform. So we can offer a bank in a box kind of solution where everything can be offered under one umbrella, to be serviced at a click of a button, right? Um, the service delivery mechanism has to be with a very high-end technology infrastructure where it understands the customer, it customizes, the offering based on customer's need, and then the final delivery is on a seamless basis.
Got it. Got it. So, Amit, what kind of tools and supports are needed to enable the transformation into wealth management?
Um, It's not difficult. So essentially, it's all technology backed and mindset backed. But if I have to summarize it, in a broader sense, I would say following things, and in the same packing order. The first is a very good digital CRM, which can track clients' goals, live events, and engagement history. This is very important. The reason why engagement history is important is tomorrow when you're expanding your business and you get more RMs and the old RM leaves, the transition becomes very easy. So from a customer point of view, the service and the understanding is exactly the same. The second thing is, a proper risk profiling and goal-based planning tools, which would have a very meaningful, conversations. Now, we are currently in a process of building one, which is AI-led, and we have hired a team, to do that, where one can plan not only based on the goals, but can set up triggers also, where when a goal is met, an automatic trigger is done, and informed to the customer for an action to be taken. Third thing, which I believe is very, very important, is the model portfolio, and build out of a model portfolio, which would ensure a consistent, process-driven approach and advice. We have that one on our platform. We are kind of modifying, the same. But that is extremely important because that gives a good foot in the door when you go for the first meeting, as well as for the review, because a lot of customers portfolio, or a lot of customers you have inherited from other distributors, their portfolio may not be aligned with your portfolio. And that's why having a model portfolio and a proper comparative analysis of that model portfolio is extremely important. Another important thing is a query based, management system where all the customers queries, all your recommendations, all the rationales, and whatever you intend to execute gets recorded at one place, so that this would help from an audit perspective also, but more so to understand the customer psyche. And once you have a trend of that for the 6-12 months perspective, then there would be an AI engine on top of it, which would then analyze those queries and come up with that, hey, this customer's focus is on ABCD thing, so let's focus on that, right? The next one is the digital communication tools. So whether it's a WhatsApp bot, which gives access to the customer 24/7, or whether it's an auto scheduling of portfolio reports or emailers, this is something which will really build trust in customers' mind, because they know that if I need anything, it's available at a click of a button. Within seconds, I can get it. And last but not the least is the training and community support. Right, we are all one community, and actually one of our mutual fund distributors, who has been very kind on us, has been given fantastic suggestions. He gave me this suggestion even today morning, that why don't you guys build a community? Because now when I deal with, now we have 1,000+ distributors, so we have, and we are operating, I think, except in Kashmir and one or two states in East, we have distributors from all the states. And
Mm.
what is interesting is that the languages may be different, the client set may be different, but the requirement is exactly the same. So if there is a community where everyone is contributing and suggesting, then it helps the whole community as a whole, right? So that's my
Mm.
next step. That once our platform is in a full proper shape, then at that point in time, have this kind of community also being created, where the interaction and suggestions flow can become seamless. So this is where a platform like Wylth would like to step in, where we have already built and we are in process of building some of the other missing blocks, so that everything is available under one roof.
Great. Great. So, Amit, so all these things are good, but what is the cost involved in setting up a wealth management like practice?
uh, Optically, one may feel that it's a very expensive proposition, that's why I don't want to do that. So, but contrary to the popular belief, transitioning from an MFD mindset to an actual wealth manager practice doesn't require massive amount of cost in investment or a plush office, right? My answer would have been different probably 10 years back, when technology was not that evolved. Now today, after COVID,
Mm.
supposed to meet a customer, or which customer comes to your office, most of the interaction happens digitally or at customer's place, right? So with platforms like Wylth and few of our other fellow competitors, one MFD can get a full digital setup. We are still not fully there. We are, I would say, 90% there. We are still to build out 10%. But you can get a full digital setup, which includes a CRM, a planning tool, a chatbot, and a full functional support,
Mm.
which at a fraction of what a private bank or a large wealth management firm would spend. So, like
Mm.
for us, our subscription fees is like 10,000 plus GST. If you add
Mm.
a chatbot, it's another 10,000, right? So, for 20,000 and plus additional other products, if you take for 25,000 a year, you can
Mm.
practically be a same as wealth manager, save few other additional products which we don't have, which we are going to add. So let's say
Mm.
fast forward March of 26, right? Uh, the cost of being an actual full-fledged wealth manager would be 25, 26,000 plus GST per
Mm.
year.
I mean, that's good number. I mean, anyone can afford it.
Yeah. But see, here the problem is not of the cost, right? Your real investment is what time you would spend, what intent you want to spend, and
Mm.
what commitment you want to have to upgrade your client's experience. That is more important. That is valuable, right?
Mm.
Because everyone's time is invaluable. Intent obviously has to be there, otherwise it's going to be a half-baked thing. And
Mm.
in the mindset, you need to be committed that I want to upgrade my client's experience. Because our mindset, a lot of people have a mindset that if why to change anything if it is not broken.
Mm.
I have a different mindset. I have a mindset that I know it's going to be broken in next 1 or 2 years time, so let me fix it today so it never breaks in life, right? And that's what differentiates between successful MFDs and not so successful MFDs. And that's why if you see our numbers also in India, there are very few MFDs who have more than 100 crore of AUM, right? So so, and that's what Wylth wants to kind of partner with, because my view is that for a market like India, I should have at least 100,000 MFDs with more than 100 crore of AUM,
Mm.
versus less than 3,000 with more than 100 crores of AUM.
Right. So, Amit, for an MFD, primarily catering to retail customers. So, do you think the transition to a wealth management approach is relevant for them?
100%. Absolutely, yes.
Mm.
In fact, this segment actually needs wealth management the most. Okay.
Mm.
But if you see, retail investors may not have crores today,
Mm.
but what they have, which the people who have crores don't have, is massive aspirations, responsibilities, and anxieties, right?
Mm.
Which is where you need the wealth management solution. And all of these needs a proper planning and advice.
Mm.
Helping them retire early, fund their kids' education, or protect their family is actually true wealth management. And it's a wealth management with service, I would say,
Mm.
because this goes long way for them, from protecting their overall family culture and value. So and also another important thing, like I was a retail client 15, 20 years back, right? You were a retail client probably 10, 15 years back, but we all evolve over a period of time. So if an advisor would have serviced me well when I had only, let's say, 10,000 rupees in my bank account, when I
Mm.
have 10 crores in my bank account or 100 crores in my bank account, I'm not going to leave that advisor, because product is a commodity in India, correct? What you
Mm.
can provide as a big bank, I as a mutual fund distributor managing even 1 crore or 1 lakh of asset also provide exact same fund with exact same fee structure. In India, you're not allowed of differential fee structure, right? So that's why it's very important for all of us to understand that today's retail client is tomorrow's affluent client and day after tomorrow's multimillionaire, right? Today in
Mm.
India, if you look at it, all the billionaires, they never existed. They come from such a mediocre background, right? So that's why, if you earn their trust now with a proper wealth manager's approach, they would never ever leave you,
Mm.
especially for a priority bank, because there the churn is so high. There is absolutely no empathy. The RM of a priority bank has only one objective, is basically come and sell you during his tenure so that he can make his bonus. Versus
Mm.
you, who, if you have a wealth manager's approach, which client is going to go to a priority bank? My view
Mm.
is zero.
Right. So there are some questions from audience. Let us say take a few. So does wealth management practice only includes mutual fund, or we should have others as well?
See, mutual fund is only 16% of clients' portfolio, okay,
Mm.
as per the MP statistics. Now, a wealth management is more like a holistic approach where you are helping the customer manage his financial planning, because of which he or she can become emotionally more stronger, right?
Mm.
So when we are talking about managing the holistic financial planning, obviously it includes all the products, whether
Mm.
it is investing, which could be mutual fund as one tool, direct equities, or any other products. So I'm not a big believer of direct equity. My personal view is retail should invest 100% into mutual funds only,
Mm.
right? So in that sense, rather than being just a product distributor, it makes sense to be a holistic wealth manager, where you would end up essentially advising the customer on his end life goals, right? And that's why I'm saying it's very important, rather than just setting up a goal for a house and doing an SIP for it. It is just a one of the means to meet the end. Now, no one talks about the end. We are just talking about the means.
Mm. Right.
I hope it answers the question.
Yeah, yeah. So Sanjeev Kumar wants to understand that even after giving so much of time to investors, so when compared to bank employees, so they work for a fixed hour, right? But as an MFDs, he's available 24/7. But still, many people approach bank officials. So what's your comment?
Uh, yeah, so that is a reason, and that's what I mentioned. What we are trying to see, the biggest problem with Indian setup is we don't have something called an external asset manager model, which you see in the global markets. What it
Mm.
means in simple words is we don't have one unified platform which can be given to a mutual fund distributor through which they can service a customer across all products. Now, where does a bank score higher than the mutual fund distributor? So, bank has one unified platform in which
Mm.
when a customer wants to take a loan, wants to invest, or wants to trade in securities, or wants a credit card, or wants a bank fixed deposit, everything comes under one statement. And
Mm.
that is what a retail investor wants, right? A mutual fund distributor may have a best wealth management platform, may have best mutual fund platform, may have a best insurance platform, may have a best loans platform, but they are all three different things, right? So if you have to churn out a nice portfolio with an overall asset allocation and stuff, you're not able to do that for the customer. You can't issue a multi-asset client account statement, which a bank can do it, right? So that was basically, the mission with which we started Wealth when
Hmm.
when I moved out of my previous venture, because I saw that as a massive bottleneck for mutual fund distributors. Because I totally agree with Sanjeev, right? You mentioned.
Yes.
I totally agree with Sanjeev that, when you are, because I consider a mutual fund distributor as a community person, right? He is doing an insane service because, oh, like you see in that Raj Kapoor's movie, that dialogue, right? Jeena yaha, marna yaha. So a mutual fund distributor is a individual who has lived there all his life, right? Or her life. And then they're going to be there 24/7 for the customer. They're like a family man to that customer, but they don't get their deserved wallet share. And one
Hmm.
key reason for that is a unified platform, or the only reason for that is a unified platform. So if they get a unified platform where a customer, rather than going to a bank, can sit in his or her own house, have a coffee with a mutual fund distributor or a wealth manager, and do all their transactions digitally and get a report, then there is no reason why a priority bank would have even $1 of assets from a investment perspective, right? They may still have a, and if you see internationally also, India is the only country where priority bank is doing wealth management. You go to US, 100% of the retail or middle class money is managed by wealth managers. There is
Hmm.
zero money going to any retail bank who does wealth management.
Hmm.
So in India it's going to shift. But like Wealth, what we are trying to do, and few others, if they come in the fray, where without compromising, on the what do you call it, brand of a distributor, if they can do it, then this market would explode for them.
Okay. So does MFD require any other certification apart from NISM to become a wealth manager?
Uh, so there are a lot of gray areas, but if you technically see, you are still a product distributors, right? So for for creating a balanced portfolio matching the life goals and stuff, there is no requirement of any regulatory license.
Hmm.
Regulatory license come in place where you are advising the investors, right? And advising would there's a very thin line between advising and distributing. So I would
Hmm.
say till the time you are essentially creating a broader life goals for the customer, which is done through the platform. And then
Hmm.
if the customer decides to execute various products, within those parameters, and those products are distributed through you as a product provider, uh,
Hmm.
in the current context, there is no regulatory requirement. But this
Hmm.
is going to change 100%, for sure. In next 2 years, you're going to see a proper guidelines coming in, because just to avoid the abuse of the trust which the end investor places on distributors. Also in India, if you look at it, last 10-15 years, since the time mutual fund became prominent, we have seen only one way market, right? We have not seen a 5 year or a 10 year downward moving market. And I
Hmm.
don't see that happening in the next 10-15 years also. So in that sense, when everyone is making money, there are no complaints. And that's why, regulator also has been quite, silent on that.
Yes.
But it's
Okay.
going to change for sure.
Yeah. So Manan wants to understand how can Wealth help MFDs establish a wealth manager like practice?
Sure. So Manan, currently, if you look at it, my understanding is Wealth is the only platform which provides a 360-degree, customer servicing experience, which includes your lead management, and everything is under one platform, digitally connected. So right from creating leads to onboarding customers to executing transactions to creating model portfolios and comparing those model portfolios to reviewing those portfolios. And now we are hiring AI talent, and we will be the first ones to do it, where you are going to see that apart from reviewing the model portfolio, there would be a nice, one paragraph written on analysis of those portfolios, right?
Hmm.
So today on our platform, there are almost 250 crore transactions which are residing. So an AI level, which will be kind of operating on top of it to analyze customers' behavior and give predictive kind of analysis. So those things we are planning to come on it. And then the last piece is cross-selling, right? So we have few products. We're going to add more relevant products on the platform, which will be digitally served. So if you ask me today, we are 75% to 80% of a wealth manager's requirement is fulfilled by Wealth, with few critical items already there, which is your lead management, because that's a key. Lead management in CRM is the most critical thing. The second critical thing is the query management. Today, none of the platforms offer a robust digital query management solution, which we have. And all these things is packaged at a cost of between 10,000 and 25,000, depending on what products you decide to take. But for that price, you can actually become or start becoming a wealth manager. Again, wealth manager is not a switch on, switch off. It's not that you switch off MFD hat today and become a wealth manager tomorrow, because a key role for a wealth manager is creating and building trust. So I'll give you an example. When we started IFL Wealth, which is called 361 now, in the thick of global financial crisis, we didn't become India's largest wealth management house overnight. It was an effort over 6 to 8 years time, right? And that's how you gain and build trust. But once that is done and you consistently service the same set of customers, it's very easy to build that out. So it's not a sprint, it's a marathon, right? And if you run it like a marathon, then a platform like Wealth can be a good a foundational setup for you, which can help you, in your first leg of run. And as we evolve, you can also increase the speed of your run and thereby, build your business. But having said that, I'm happy to chat with you, Manan, separately also if you have specific questions, and if I can be of any help out of my 25 years of experience of technically now this is my third startup build out.
Okay. So, Amit, do you plan to add other products in your platform like PPF, NPS, etc.?
Yes. So our vision is that by March of 2026, we should have at least 80% of the products on our platform, which includes most of the investment products, some of the loan products, and some of the insurance products. And by the end of next year, we should have everything, including the bank FDs and credit cards and everything on the platform. So that, as I said, our vision is to make a good front end bank in a box to an advisor so that he or she can control a full client 360-degree relationship.
Right. So, Amit, speaking of wealth, Amit, you were both a wealth manager before starting your platform, Wealth. So, what key learnings from that experience that you have implemented into the software to help MFDs become wealth manager?
It's a great question. And as I mentioned earlier, I was fortunate to be a part of the founding team when Kotak Bank was formed. So I was part of the founding team of the wealth management of Kotak Bank. Was there for 8 years to see that built out. And then the core team of guys who were with Kotak Bank at the time started IFL Wealth. So and then I started Wealth. So what I've learned over this whatever 15-20 years of experience is the first and the foremost is trust is everything. And I'll give you an example. So when IFL started, it was on the back of global financial crisis, and the brand was more associated with retail and had nothing to do with wealth management at that point in time. So clients generally don't remember the product. As I mentioned earlier, product is a commodity, right? But they always remember the experience. This is a very simple statement, but this is what defines success and failure. So unfortunately for us, most of us spend massive amount of time on product. So this specific scheme is better than that scheme. This is that. This is that. It doesn't matter. If you see Warren Buffett's book or any of the legends book, they all say that 95% of the returns in long term comes out of asset allocation and 5% is attributed to the product. Whereas what we do is other way around. We spend 95% on the product and 5% on asset allocation. So asset allocation can build trust, and that experience of the entire process is what would win the customer for you. The second is process builds confidence. So whether it's onboarding, rebalancing, reviewing, or whatever it is, if you're consistent at it, you don't need to be a charismatic banker, right? Like when I started wealth management, my personality was such, i I was not as good in English as I'm now then, right? So I was technically destined to be a failure because I never had that charisma. I believe I don't have still now. I don't have that. Like what you see in some of the other, I'm not a great orator. But I think one of the key reason I found why I was successful over a lot of other people who are much more charming personality than me is that I was very consistent in what I was doing.
Mm,
I'll not be the most intelligent person in the room, but I'll be
mm,
the most consistent person in the room. I
mm,
eat everything. Whenever I say anything, I say as if what I would have done for myself, I would do it for my client, right? And that consistency has, paid till
mm,
now, and that's become now my DNA. And the last thing is, technology is a great equalizer. And
mm,
I'll tell you an example again of my previous firm. When we started, we had Morgan Stanley starting at the same time, and we had others, Julius Baer and others who were massive at that time. Kotak was very big at that time. So we never had any of doubt in our mind that we'll not be successful. Because I think the biggest advantage which we have in India, which is not there in any part of the world, is the growth is so massive. The tailwind is so strong. And I'd mentioned this in one of my interviews that it's like raining. When it's raining outside massively, it's pouring. Even if you take your bucket and if that bucket has a small hole in it, still it's going to
mm,
get filled
mm,
because the force of that water is so much that whatever. So, like, I'm not a very intelligent person, but just with sheer grit and hard work, I can be successful. And
mm,
if you see most of the people who have made it, they're very simple, basic people like you and I, right? I was talking to one of my dear friend who is a founder of one of the very largest, payments company in India. If you see his story, is like his background is like his family was making 900 rupees a month, right? And this guy ended up building one of the massive companies. So what I'm saying is, if you're hardworking and have grit, you don't need to have a great charisma. You don't need to be super intelligent. Because if a common person like me can build wealth and was part of the founding team of IFL Wealth, right? Everyone can do the same thing.
mm,
So what we have done is at Wealth, we have tried to embed all these three, right? So trust. So just to give you an example, and if some of the mutual fund distributors who are our customers have joined in, they'll say that vouch that I have 1,100 distributors empaneled now, and I have created 1,100 different WhatsApp groups where
mm,
their team and our team is there, and I'm part of every group.
mm,
I read every message, and I
mm,
respond to them.
mm,
Now, and I talk to a distributor with even 1 crore or 10 lakhs, or a
mm,
distributor with 1,000 crores. So the largest distributor on our platform is 1,400 crores, right?
mm,
The reason being that it doesn't mean that if this guy is 10 lakhs today, he'll not be a thousand. But the guy who is 1,300 crores started with 10 lakhs, right?
mm,
So the same concept as what I'm preaching now to be a wealth manager, I'm trying to do with my mutual fund distributors also.
mhm,
Right? So our objective here is to help all these mutual fund distributors to scale, trust,
mm,
and run a very highly process-driven advice, and
mm,
then leverage the technology which we are building or what we have today, you know, to punch above their weight. And it's very important that we all should not get bogged down because I have only this thing, so I can't do that, you know. And that's how we are, right? Now I don't know how successful we will be, but I'm pretty confident that, in our journey from where we stand, where we were 1 year back, when
mm,
I'll tell you, 1 year back when we launched, 1.5 years back when we launched the product, every distributor called me and said that, boss, this is a stupid product, it doesn't work. Okay, and it
mm,
was fact. From
mm,
there, we have evolved to where we stand today. And from
mm,
here, we'll evolve to where we'll be in 1 year later, right? And I'm very confident in making this statement that in next 6 to 12 months' time, you're going to see Wealth as the only AI-enabled platform which will do everything for you so that you
mm,
can spend more time with your family.
mhm. Great. Great. So I'll take two more questions from audience. So Nisreen wants to understand whether the platform offers PMS and AIF distribution.
PMS, yes. So we have tied up, with small case. So through that, PMS distribution is enabled. AIF at this point in time we don't offer, but what we have is a backend through which one can upload the portfolios. See, it's unfortunate that in India, though PMS and AIF has grown, but there is no standardized RTA mechanism like what you see for CAMS and CARVI in mutual fund, right? So getting and gathering data becomes very, very difficult.
Mhm.
But PMS, yes, we have it through small case on our platform.
Okay. So one last question. One key message for distributors who want to transition to a wealth management practice.
This is what I practice myself, is what I will say. That don't wait for that perfect time, that big client, or some certification which is going to change your life, right? Transitioning into wealth management is just a small mindset shift. And once you are able to do that mindset shift, and a second thing you need to focus is a slight business upgrade, which comes with technology, education, so on and so forth. So clients don't need to be perfect, right? Or MFDs don't need to be perfect in that sense. They just need to be proactive. No one is perfect, right? I make a lot of mistakes. But what is important is we need to be proactive in admitting that mistake, which is what we have done. And that's why I said, despite having a very ordinary platform 1 year back, most of the distributors who supported us then are supporting us now also, right? Despite having some issues now, everyone is supporting us because they know that we are moving towards a positive change, right? So that's why it's important to be proactive, to be present, and most importantly, to be prepared, right? What's going to happen and change tomorrow? Because just like COVID changed everything, right? Who knew Zerodha as a company before COVID happened? Who knew Paytm as a company before demonetization happened? Who thought that our servants and our mother who are 65, 70, 75-year old would make digital payments? You don't need to carry cash at all in India. 5 years back, if I would have asked, 100% of us would have said not in our generation for sure, right? So these kind of monumental things happen. So for MFDs, the monumental thing which would happen is the TER coming down and thereby commissions coming down, because that would wipe out, the most of the profits you make out of it. And that's why it's very important to start thinking about it now rather than running around when it happens 2 years later.
So, all right, we have come to an end to this interesting session. Thank you so much, Amit, for your valuable time and inputs.
Nishant, as always, thank you so much. And, I love this community. And, I'm proud to say that I'm a part of this community now with so many friends around, and happy to help wherever, we can at Wylth. Thank you so much for hosting this.
Great. And few MFDs wants to understand and they want some demo as well. So, can
Mhm.
you share someone's number so that they can get in touch with them directly?
Yeah, sure. So we would do that. If Shakil or someone can just, one of my colleagues would post the number over here, and they can do it. Plus, we have recorded this session also, so we can share the link with you for any other MFDs who could not join, and we would be happy to have any conversation with anyone if they require it.
Sure. So,
Yeah.
all right. And finally, I thank each one of you for being such a wonderful audience. Have a great day at work, guys. Bye bye. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate all of you joining in. Thank you.